The Emperor's mercy is measured not in grand victories or heroic last stands, but in the simple act of surviving another shift in the depths of humanity's hive cities. For billions of souls crushed beneath the weight of existence, the true horror of the 41st millennium isn't war, it's peace. I wake to the sound of prayer bells echoing through the ventilation shafts, their bronze voices carried on air thick with incense and industrial smoke. The chronometer beside my sleeping alcove displays the time in red numerals, each digit a reminder that another day of service begins. Around me, in bunks stacked 7 high to the ceiling, my fellow workers stir beneath thin blankets that smell of sweat and fear. The dormitory stretches beyond sight, a cavern of humanity packed so tightly that privacy exists only in the space between one breath and the next. My name is Thaddeus Vaughn, and I am nothing. A designation on a work roster, a serial number tattooed beneath my left shoulder blade. I am one of countless souls crammed into hive terrors on the world of Morgul Prime. And my purpose is simple. I manufacture the bolter shells that keep the Imperium's enemies at bay. 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, until my body fails or my faith falters, whichever comes first. The morning prayer begins before my feet even touch the cold metal floor. Speakers hidden in the walls crackle to life, broadcasting the voice of Subdeacon Morvis from somewhere high above in the administrative levels. His words wash over us like sacred rain, though I know them by heart after 23 years of service. Blessed are those who toil in darkness, for they bring light to the Emperor's realm. I pull on my grimy overalls, the fabric stiff with sweat and machine oil. The ritual is automatic, a series of movements ingrained by a lifetime of repetition. There's no time for contemplation, no room for doubt. To hesitate is to invite the attention of the overseers, and their attention is a curse worse than any Xenos blade. Our procession to the manufactorum is a slow, shuffling river of gray-clad bodies. The corridors are narrow, slick with condensation and the filth of generations. The air is a cocktail of ozone from failing power conduits, recycled water, and the ever-present stench of too many people living too close together. We pass under arches carved with skulls and eagles, constant reminders of the master of mankind's watchful gaze. They say he protects, but donere, in the gut of the hive. It feels less like protection and more like imprisonment. The manufactorum itself is a vision of hell rendered in steel and fire, a vast chamber where the roar of machinery drowns out all thought. Pistons the size of havelocks pound in a relentless rhythm, shaking the very foundations of the hive. Sparks rain down from welding arms that move within human speed, and the heat from the forges is so intense it sears the lungs with every breath. My station is number 47B, a small corner of this industrial inferno where I inspect newly pressed bolter casings. I run my gloved fingers over each one, feeling for cracks, for imperfections, for any flaw that might cause a jam in a Space Marine's weapon on some far-flung battlefield. My eyes, trained by decades of this work, scanned for discoloration, for stress fractures, invisible to the untrained. Each shell must be perfect. A single failure could mean a hero's death, a bastion's fall. That's what they tell us. The hours bleed into one another, marked only by the shift change siren that screams through the din. There is no conversation, only the communion of shared misery. We are cogs in a machine so vast we cannot comprehend its scale. We are the blood and bone that fuels the Imperium's war machine. We are told our sacrifice is noble, that our work is a prayer. But as I stare into the glowing heart of the forge, I wonder. I see the faces of my fellow workers, etched with fatigue and a quiet desperation. We are born in the shadow of the spire. We live in its bowels, and we will die in its service. Our bodies rendered down to feed the next generation of workers. When the final siren wails, we shuffle back to our dormitories, our bodies aching, our minds numb. The evening meal is a nutrient paste, gray and tasteless, but it fills the stomach. We eat in silence, too tired for words. Then, back to our bunks, to a few precious hours of restless sleep before the prayer bells ring again. As I lie in the darkness, listening to the symphony of coughs and whispers that fills the dorm, I think of the bolts I inspected today. I wonder where they will go. Will they be fired on the plains of Armageddon, in the haunted ruins of a Necron tomb world? Will one of them be the final, defiant shot of a guardsman overwhelmed by a tide of green skin? I will never know. My world is this bunk, this manufactorum, this endless cycle of toil and prayer. This is my life, and in the grim darkness of the far future, it is a life lived by billions. We are the foundation upon which the Imperium is built, a foundation of anonymous, forgotten souls. We are the Emperor's mercy, and it is a merciless existence. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the dark corners of the 41st millennium. If you enjoy exploring the lore and stories of this universe, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Until then, may the Emperor protect. Blessed are those who sacrifice their flesh, for they strengthen his eternal will. Around me, thousands of voices join in unison, the words automatic, born from repetition rather than understanding. I mouth the syllables, while my mind focuses on the day ahead. Production Quota 77 Alpha requires 3,000 shells completed and blessed by shift's end. Yesterday, we only managed 2,847. The difference cost us 3 extra hours of standing prayer and a reduction in our evening ration paste. That can't happen again. The water allocation tubes descend from the ceiling with a mechanical wheeze. 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes of tepid, recycled water, brown with minerals and chemicals whose names I do not know. I scrub my hands with the provided soap, a gray substance that leaves my skin feeling raw, but satisfies the purity requirements. The taste of copper never leaves my mouth. Some say it's from the water. Others whisper it's the taste of fear, permanent and bitter. I dress quickly in the gray coveralls that mark my caste. The fabric is rough, designed for durability, not comfort. The Imperial Aquila is embroidered over my heart, its twin heads watching in opposite directions, never blinking, never sleeping. On my collar, a small brass pin identifies my work detail, my level, and my clearance rating. Without it, I am not permitted to move beyond the dormitory sections. With it, I am bound to my station as surely as any chain. The breakfast line forms automatically, bodies pressed together in orderly fashion. We learned long ago not to push, not to complain, not to waste time with unnecessary conversation. The food dispensers hum with mechanical efficiency, depositing measured portions of protein, paste, and vitamin supplements onto our meal trays. The paste is gray and flavorless, but it contains everything necessary to maintain our strength for another day of labor. Flavor is a luxury reserved for those who serve in higher capacities. I take my tray and find a spot at the long, cold metal tables. We eat in silence, the only sounds being the scraping of spoons against metal and the distant hum of the manufacturing machinery. A constant reminder of our purpose. We march in formation to our workstations. The air in the manufactorum is thick with the smell of ozone, hot metal, and the sweat of 10,000 workers. My station is a small, enclosed space, dominated by the shell casing press. The press is a relic, an ancient machine that groans and shudders with every cycle, but it is reliable. My task is to inspect each shell casing for imperfections, bless it with the correct litany, and send it down the line for the next stage of assembly. The work is monotonous, repetitive, and soul-crushingly dull, but it is our sacred duty. Each shell we produce is a prayer, a testament to our faith and our contribution to the eternal war. Hours blur into one another. The rhythm of the factory becomes the rhythm of my heartbeat. Inspect, bless, send. Inspect, bless, send. My hands move with an efficiency born of 1,000 shifts. My mind drifts, replaying the same litanies over and over. Sometimes, I catch a glimpse of the outside through a grime-streaked window high above. The sky is a perpetual twilight, choked with the smoke of a million factories just like this one. It's a world I'll never know. My world is this station, this quota, this endless cycle of production and prayer. A piercing siren signals the midday meal. We have 20 minutes. 20 minutes to consume another portion of nutrient paste, to stretch our aching limbs, and to prepare for the second half of the shift. There's no rest, not really. Even in these moments, the overseers watch from their elevated platforms, their eyes scanning for any sign of weakness or dissent. One of the workers on the line next to me stumbles, his face pale, Two enforcers are on him in an instant, dragging him away. We don't look. We don't react. We just keep our heads down and focus on our trays. We know the price of failure. The afternoon is a struggle against exhaustion. My eyes burn from staring at the polished metal of the shells. My back screams in protest, but I push through. I have two. The quota hangs over us all. The final bell rings, signaling the end of the shift. We check our counters. Today, we made the quota. 3,012 shells. A collective, unspoken sigh of relief passes through the line. Tonight, we will receive our full ration. We will be allowed our designated sleep cycle without interruption. We line up, file out, and march back to the dormitories. Our day's labor complete. As I lie on my narrow cot, the litanies still echo in my head. I close my eyes, but the image of the Aquila is burned into my vision. Never blinking, never sleeping. And I know, with a certainty that chills me to the bone, that tomorrow will be exactly the same. But we are blessed. We serve, and that is all that matters. Thanks for joining me in this glimpse into the grim darkness of the far future. If you enjoy this kind of atmospheric storytelling, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you do not miss the next chapter. Let me know in the comments what part of this universe you'd like to explore next. Until then, stay vigilant. My station is number 4779. It is marked with my designation and has a small shrine to the machine god. The tools are laid out with absolute care, each one cleaned and consecrated according to the morning rituals. Shell casings arrive in metal bins. Their brass surfaces are dull, but free of any imperfection. Gunpowder, blessed by the tech priests, waits in measured portions. The projectiles, each one inscribed with microscopic prayer scrolls, gleam under the artificial light. The work is methodical, almost like a meditation in its repetition. Take a casing, inspect for flaws. Fill with a precise amount of blessed powder. Seat the projectile. Crimp the edge with tools that have been used by 1,000 workers before me. Each shell has to be perfect. Imperfection in our work means death for the Emperor's servants who depend on our craftsmanship. This knowledge weighs heavy, but it also provides a sense of purpose. Every shell I complete might save a loyal guardsman's life. It might take down a heretic. It might help hold the line against the darkness that presses against our borders. The hours pass without any variation. The quota counter above our section ticks upward with each completed shell, but it's never fast enough to ease the tension that builds throughout the shift. Supervisors walk between the workstations. Their red robes mark them as servants of the Mechanicus, their augmented eyes scanning for any inefficiency or imperfection. They rarely speak, but their presence is constant. It's a reminder that we are watched, measured, and evaluated with every single movement we make. Halfway through the shift, the daily execution bell tolls 3 times. Somewhere in the hive, 3 citizens have been found wanting. Maybe they spoke words of doubt. Maybe their production fell below acceptable levels. Maybe they just looked too long at something they shouldn't have seen. The reasons matter less than the outcome. 3 lives ended to maintain the purity and efficiency of our world. 3 examples set for the rest of us to think about as we work. I try not to think about the faces behind those tolling bells, but the mind wanders despite our best efforts. Were they workers like me, struggling to meet impossible quotas with failing bodies and tired souls? Were they administrators who made the wrong decision, filed the wrong report, or failed to show enough enthusiasm for their duties? The uncertainty is perhaps worse than knowing. It means any of us could be next for reasons we might never understand. The afternoon brings a new challenge. Word spreads through the factory floor that Imperial Navy representatives will be conducting a quality inspection of our production line. This news transforms the already tense atmosphere into something approaching panic. The supervisors become more aggressive in their oversight, barking corrections and adjustments in binary cant that none of us fully understand, but all of us fear. Now, every movement is scrutinized, not just by our usual overseers, but by the unseen eyes of the Navy. My hands feel clumsy, the familiar motion suddenly foreign. The weight of each projectile seems heavier, the gleam of the casings a mocking reminder of the perfection demanded. 1 flawed shell, 1 misaligned primer, could bring ruin not just to me, but to my entire section. The pressure is immense. The air crackles with unspoken fear and frantic energy. Each finished round I place on the conveyor belt feels like a prayer sent into the void, a desperate hope that it meets the impossible standards of the Imperium and that I will live to see another shift. The quota counter keeps ticking, but now it feels less like a goal and more like a countdown. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this glimpse into the grim darkness of the far future, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. The pace quickens, but so does the pressure for perfection. Quality inspections are a double-edged sword. Sure, they can bring commendations for exceptional work, but more often, they bring punishment for failing to meet the impossible standards of the Emperor's war machine. We've seen workers taken away during these inspections, never to be seen again. Entire production lines shut down, their people reassigned to punishment details. Or even worse, the stakes are so much higher than our usual daily struggle to just survive. When the inspection team arrives, the entire floor falls silent. The only sound is the constant, low hum of the machinery. 3 figures, clad in navy blue uniforms, move between our workstations. Their faces are hidden behind ceremonial masks, emblazoned with the aquila and other symbols of imperial authority. They move with an unnerving purpose, selecting artillery shells at random. They examine them with instruments I don't recognize, marking their findings on data slates with styluses that gleam like tiny weapons. They pause at my station, longer than anywhere else. One of the inspectors holds up a shell I finished earlier today. He turns it slowly in the light, running his sensors over its surface. My heart is pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs, a beat that threatens to make my hands shake. But I keep working. I have to. I focus on the shell currently in my grasp, forcing myself to look calm, competent, like I belong here. After what feels like an eternity, the inspector makes a notation on his slate. He replaces the shell in the completed bin and moves on without a single word. The inspection lasts for 2 hours, but it feels like 2 days. When the team finally departs, the silence stretches on for long, agonizing minutes before the normal sounds of production gradually start up again. There are no announcements about what they found. No immediate consequences are declared. We just return to our work, carrying the heavy knowledge that judgment has been passed. We just won't know the verdict until it's delivered, in whatever form the authorities decide is appropriate. The final hours of the shift are always the hardest. Our bodies, worn down by hours of repetitive labor, start to make mistakes. Our minds, dulled by the soul-crushing monotony, lose focus at the most crucial moments. The quarter counter on the wall continues its relentless, unforgiving advance. But our pace slows down. No matter how hard we try to keep up, the supervisors become more frequent in their patrols, their mechanical voices spitting out corrections and warnings with increasing urgency. The pressure builds and builds, like steam trapped in the overhead pipes, with no release until that final shift bell sounds. As the day wears on, I find my thoughts drifting to the world beyond these hive walls, somewhere far above us, beneath a sky I have never seen with my own eyes. The Emperor's armies are fighting battles whose outcomes will determine whether we live or die. The shells we make here, day in and day out, are more than just metal and They are our contribution to a war we can only imagine. They are our lives, our survival, forged in steel and sent out into the void. Each one that passes inspection is another day we get to live, and each one that fails, well, we try not to think about that. We just focus on the next one, and the one after that, until the bell rings. And then, we pray we get to do it all again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. If you want more stories from the dark corners of the galaxy, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Somewhere among the stars, ships carry the products of our labor to distant worlds, where they will serve purposes we can only imagine. Our small contributions, these tiny pieces we forge day after day, become part of something vast and incomprehensible. A war machine spanning the entire galaxy. But these thoughts are dangerous, and I push them away before they can take root. My world is this station, this shift, this endless cycle of production and rest. To think beyond it is to risk losing focus, making mistakes, and drawing unwanted attention. The universe beyond these walls is simply too large, too complex, too violent for minds like mine to comprehend. It's better to concentrate on the work at hand, the simple, repetitive task that gives meaning to my existence. Finally, the shift bell sounds. Its metallic tone cuts through the industrial noise like a sword through flesh. All around me, workers straighten their aching backs, setting down their tools, preparing for the long walk back to the dormitories. But the day is not over. Not yet. Before we can leave, there are prayers to recite, equipment to clean and bless, and final inspections to ensure that nothing has been damaged or misplaced during our hours of service. This is the routine, the sacred rhythm of our lives. The evening prayer is longer than the morning version. It's filled with gratitude for another day, completed without disaster, requests for strength to face tomorrow's challenges, and an acknowledgement of our unworthiness before the Emperor's majesty. The words flow over me like warm water, familiar and comforting, despite their grim implications. We are nothing. The prayers remind us that we exist only to serve. Our individual lives matter only as part of the greater whole, cogs in a machine that will outlast us all. It's a truth that's both crushing and liberating. After the prayers come the cleansing rituals. We wash our hands and faces with blessed water, scrubbing away the industrial grime that accumulates during a day of labor. We prepare ourselves to enter the sacred spaces where we eat and sleep. The cleansing is both physical and spiritual, a daily renewal of our commitment to purity and service. Some workers linger at the washing stations, savoring these few moments of quiet reflection, the only real peace they'll get. Others hurry through the rituals, eager to reach the promise of rest that awaits in the sterile bunks. The walk back to the dormitories follows the same route as the morning journey, but the corridors feel different in the artificial evening light. The servo skulls are fewer, their watchful presence reduced, but never truly absent. The devotional scrolls on the walls seem to absorb the flickering illumination. Their sacred words, casting long shadows that dance and shift with each footstep. The sound of our passage echoes differently too, as if the very walls themselves are tired after another day of containing our lives. We are ghosts in our own homes, shuffling through the arteries of this station, returning to our cells to recharge for another day of glorious labor. This is our life. This is our purpose. And tomorrow, we will do it all again. For the Emperor, dinner is a repeat of breakfast. The same gray paste and vitamin supplements are dispensed with mechanical precision, but the evening meal carries an additional blessing in the form of water rations that are slightly larger, slightly cleaner. This extra hydration helps wash away the metallic taste that builds throughout the day, though it never completely disappears. Conversation during dinner is a little more relaxed than at other times, but it's still conducted in whispers and careful phrases, avoiding any dangerous topics. Tonight, there are rumors of a celebration being planned. It's for those who exceeded their quotas during the last quality inspection. Extra rations, perhaps, or maybe an additional rest period. These rewards are rare, but not unknown. They are small acknowledgments that even the most insignificant servants of the Emperor can achieve moments of distinction. I allow myself a brief, flickering hope that my work might be judged worthy, but I know that hope can be as dangerous as doubt if you let it go too far. After dinner comes the most perilous part of the day. It's that brief period just before sleep, when our minds are tired enough to wander into forbidden territory. This is when workers sometimes speak too freely, question too openly, or remember too much of what life might have been like under different circumstances. The commissariat knows this. Their informants are most active during these evening hours, listening for any sign of sedition or weakness that might require correction. I make my way back to my bunk and lie down quietly, listening to the sounds of 17 billion people settling into rest. Coughs and whispers echo through the vast dormitory caverns. Somewhere in the distance, a child cries until it is soothed by voices too tired to offer anything but the faint hope that tomorrow might be easier. The massive ventilation systems groan and heave, circulating air that tastes of metal and human exhaustion. Sleep comes slowly, always interrupted by dreams of endless production lines and artillery shells that never quite meet the required specifications. But sleep does come, eventually, carrying with it the small mercy of unconsciousness. For just a few precious hours, the crushing weight of existence lifts, The constant pressure of quotas and inspections fades away. The awareness of being watched and measured dissolves into a blessed, silent darkness. These hours of rest are perhaps the only true freedom we possess. The only time when our minds can drift beyond the narrow boundaries of our designated existence. When we can almost forget the endless grind. Morning awry, far too soon. Announced by the same clanging prayer bells. The same bronze voices carrying the same sacred words across the hablock. The chronometer on the wall displays its stark red numbers. Marking another day in a cycle that will continue until my body fails or my faith finally falters. All around me, thousands of workers begin the same familiar rituals of waking, washing, and eating, preparing for another shift in service to the Emperor's grand, unfathomable design. Every day is a carbon copy of the last, a testament to our unwavering duty. We are cogs in a machine so vast it defies comprehension. Each one of us playing our small, replaceable part. I rise from my bunk, my muscles aching with a familiar weariness. The gray paste awaits. The long walk to the manufactorum awaits. The Emperor awaits our sacrifice, our sweat, and our unending labor. My name is Thaddeus Vaughn, and in the grand scheme of the Imperium, I am nothing. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the grim darkness of the far future. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking the video and subscribing for more tales from the 41st millennium. Let me know in the comments what other aspects of this universe you'd like to explore next. Your support helps keep this channel going. Until next time, stay safe and may the Emperor protect. In my nothingness, I serve a purpose greater than myself. Each shell I craft, each prayer I recite, each day I survive it, all adds one small thread to the vast tapestry that keeps humanity alive in a universe determined to destroy it. The weight of this responsibility is crushing, yet it also elevates me, giving meaning to this seemingly meaningless existence. Today's quota will be the same as yesterday's. The quality inspectors might return, or new ones will take their place. The execution bells will toll for citizens whose names I will never know. Their crimes perhaps as simple as thinking a thought that should have remained unthought. And I will continue my work. Because work is prayer, and prayer is survival. And survival is the only victory we have in the spaces between the great battles that define our fate. The second day begins just like the first, but small differences are starting to accumulate, like dusting corners no one ever cleans. The morning water ration is a little warmer, which suggests maintenance work on the recycling system. Somewhere deep in the hives, the protein paste has a grittier texture than usual. This might mean supply chain disruptions, or maybe new additives to improve our nutrition. These minor variations are significant because they represent change in a world designed to eliminate all uncertainty through absolute routine. Walking to the manufactorum, I notice more servo skulls drifting through the corridors. Their mechanical eyes scan our faces with what seems like increased attention. The morning prayers echo with a slightly different emphasis. Certain phrases repeated more often than others. These could be coincidences, just random fluctuations in the vast machinery of hive management. Or they could be signs of something larger stirring. Change is initiated from levels of authorities so far above us that their reasons are completely incomprehensible. At my workstation, the blessing rituals feel more urgent today. The tech priest overseeing our section performs extra prayers over the machinery, anointing key parts with sacred oils while chanting in binary canticles that carry undertones of concern. The morning quota announcement comes with new rules about quality. The precision tolerances have been tightened to margins that will be difficult to meet without slowing our pace. These adjustments suggest that yesterday's inspection results were not entirely favorable. The work begins, as always, but the atmosphere is different. Supervisors patrol more frequently, their augmented eyes lingering longer on each worker's performance. The counters for completed shells seem to advance more slowly, even though our pace hasn't dropped. The air is thick with unspoken tension, a sense of scrutiny that wasn't there before. Every movement feels measured, every sound amplified. The constant hum of the machinery, usually a comforting backdrop, now sounds like a judgment. The new quality standards are a puzzle. We're expected to produce the same number of shells, but with a level of precision that requires more time and focus for each one. It's a contradiction that hangs over us. Do we risk falling behind on our quota, or do we risk producing a shell that fails inspection? Both outcomes have consequences we'd rather not face. The workers around me are a sea of focused faces. but I can see the strain in the lines around their eyes, the tightness in their shoulders. We don't speak of it. We host work, our hands moving in a rhythm perfected by years of repetition. But today, that rhythm is strained, fighting against a new, invisible pressure. Mid-shift, a senior supervisor, one I've never seen in our section before, appears. He doesn't speak, just stands at the end of the aisle. His presence is silent, heavyweight. His gaze sweeps across the production line, and for a moment, it feels like the entire manufactorum holds its breath. He observes for what feels like an eternity before turning and leaving as silently as he arrived. After he's gone, the low murmur of machinery seems to return, but the tension remains, now layered with a new kind of dread. What did he see? What judgment was passed in that silent observation? We don't know, and we may never know. We can only continue to work, to pray, to survive, hoping that our small contributions are enough. This is our existence, a constant state of uncertainty, where every tiny change could signal either salvation or doom. And as the shift wears on, we just keep threading the tapestry, one shell at a time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this glimpse into the hive, be sure to subscribe for more stories. Time itself feels stretched. Each hour lasts longer than it should. Each completed task requires more effort than it did yesterday. The weight of increased scrutiny presses down on me like a physical force, a heavy cloak I can't shrug off. Midway through the morning shift, an announcement crackles over the Vox speakers. Production Line 77 Beta has been selected for additional quality assurance measures. That's our line. Our section, our workstations. The news spreads through the workforce like ripples in still water. We all absorb the implications without any visible reaction, but I can feel the internal shift. The change from routine concern to active, knowing fear. Additional quality assurance can mean many things, and none of them are good. We tina a war. What these additional measures are becomes horribly clear. New supervisors arrive from the upper levels, their red robes bearing symbols I don't recognize, but which obviously carry significant authority. They set up observation posts at key locations throughout our section. Their augmented eyes record every single movement, every gesture, every tiny deviation from optimal performance. Data slates appear in their mechanical hands, styluses poised to record judgments that will determine our continued usefulness to the Emperor's grand design. The pressure intensifies throughout the day. Every single shell casing must be perfect. Every movement must be efficient. Every moment must be productive. There is no room for the small errors that normally pass unnoticed. No tolerance for the minor variations that are just part of human imperfection. We reforce to work with the cold precision of machines while maintaining the prayer-focused mindset expected of faithful servants. The contradiction creates a tension that builds in my muscles and mind alike. A wire pulled taut and ready to snap. During the midday break, news arrives that sends fresh waves of anxiety through us. 3 workers from the night shift have been selected for transfer to alternative service assignments. Their stations stand empty, their tools already redistributed among the remaining personnel. No explanation is offered for their removal, but the timing is no coincidence. It's clearly connected to yesterday's inspection results. The message is clear, without a single word being stated directly. Fail, and you disappear. The afternoon brings fresh challenges. Production quotas are adjusted upward to compensate for the reduced workforce. We have to do more with less. All while under the unblinking gaze of the red-robed supervisors. The air grows thick with unspoken dread. We are no longer just workers. We are components being tested, our value measured against an impossible standard. The rhythmic clang of the machinery sounds more like a countdown timer now, each second bringing us closer to a judgment we can't escape. The thought keeps circling in my head. Will I be here tomorrow? Or will my station be the next one to stand empty? I just keep my head down, pray to the Emperor, and work. It's all any of us can do. If you enjoy these deep dives into the grim darkness of the far future, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories. Thanks for watching. The pressure is immense. We must maintain the same output, but with fewer hands. Achieve the same quality standards, but with increased time pressure. The math is simple. and it's brutal. Someone will fail to meet the requirements. Someone will draw negative attention. Someone will join the ranks of those who just disappear without explanation. I focus on my work with a desperate intensity, letting muscle memory guide my hands. My mind recites every prayer I have ever learned. Each shell casing I produce becomes a meditation on duty and survival. A small offering to the Emperor who watches over us from his golden throne. The repetitive motions take on a ritual significance. Each crimped edge is a silent plea for another day of unnoticed service. Each completed round, a prayer for continued existence in this unforgiving world. As evening approaches, the quality assessments begin. Supervisors, their presence looming, collect samples from each workstation. They examine them with instruments that measure tolerances far beyond what any human eye could perceive. Their mechanical voices announce the findings in a cold, binary judgment, rendered with a mathematical precision that reduces all our human effort to mere statistical data. Pass or fail. Acceptable or deficient. Useful or expendable. The categories are absolute, admitting no middle ground, no room for error. When they reach my station, time seems too slow to a crawl. The supervisor's augmented eyes scan my completed work, while hidden sensors detect imperfections, completely invisible to natural vision. Data streams across a slate in rivers of numbers and symbols that might as well be prophecies of doom. I continue working as he evaluates, trying my best to project an aura of calm competence, all while internal voices whisper, fears too dangerous to even acknowledge consciously. The supervisor makes a few notes, replaces my samples, and then moves on to the next station without a single word. His silence could mean anything. It could be acceptance or damnation, approval or condemnation. In a system where communication flows only downward, from the top of the hierarchy, the absence of information becomes its own form of psychological torture. We are left to interpret silence, to read meaning into mechanical expressions, to find scraps of hope or despair in the smallest of gestures. The shift ends without ceremony. The daily bell cutting through the industrial noise with its hollow promise of temporary rest. But rest feels impossible under the crushing weight of accumulated tension. The additional supervisors, the ones who appeared today, remain at their posts, their silent presence, a constant, chilling reminder that our performance is being measured against standards we can't even fully comprehend. Tomorrow will bring either vindication or consequences, reward or punishment, continued service or alternative assignments whose nature we dare not even contemplate. The evening rituals proceed with an unusual somberness. Prayers are recited with extra fervor. Washing ceremonies are performed with meticulous care. Meals are consumed in a heavy silence, broken only by the sound of thousands of people trying to find some small comfort in routine. These familiar patterns provide a sliver of relief, but underneath it all runs a powerful current of anxiety that no amount of devotion can entirely suppress. Back in the dormitory, conversations are conducted in whispers so soft they barely qualify as communication. Everyone shares the same unspoken fear, the same desperate hope. We are all bound together by this shared uncertainty, this collective dread of what the morning light might bring. In T's world, survival is not a given. It is earned, day by agonizing day, one perfect shell at a time. And as I lie here, staring into the darkness, I can only pray that my work today was enough, just enough, to see another sunrise. Thanks for listening. If you find stories like this compelling, consider subscribing for more. The whispers started as soon as the shift ended. We huddled in our bunks. The day's events were playing in our minds as we tried to piece together what it all meant, what was coming next. Some of the older guys talked about friends who vanished during the last quality assurance period, just gone. Their workstations empty the next morning, their fates a dark mystery we all assumed was final. Others tried to be optimistic, saying that faithful service would surely be rewarded. They were clinging to hope. Really, not evidence. I just lay there, listening, trying to find a pattern, some sign that could predict tomorrow's outcome. But the system we serve, it's a beast with a logic we can't even begin to grasp. Its priorities go way beyond our individual lives, beyond even entire worlds. We're just numbers on a spreadsheet, part of a giant statistical calculation balancing production output against resource consumption, quality against expendable personnel. Sleep doesn't come easy these nights. When it does, it's filled with nightmares of mechanical eyes and cold measuring instruments, of shells failing inspection for no reason, of empty workstations waiting for new occupants. The line between being scared while I'm awake and terrified in my dreams has completely dissolved. All that's left is this constant, gnawing awareness that our survival is completely out of our hands. We exist at the mercy of judgments made by minds we'll never see, human and machine, evaluated by rules that change without any warning or explanation. Then came the third day. The morning announcement arrived, and the low hum of anxiety turned into a full-blown scream of terror inside my head. The quality assurance. Measures were being extended indefinitely. More supervisors would be watching our every move with that same chilling intensity. And the production quotas, they weren't being lowered, even with the workforce reductions. The announcement was delivered in that flat, robotic tone that made it all sound so routine, so normal. But we all understood exactly what it meant. This wasn't just a test of our competence anymore. It was a test of endurance, a test of our absolute, unquestioning dedication. Some of us would pass and get to keep serving. The rest we'd be found wanting and just removed, wiped from the equation. The process would be cold, mathematical, and final. All those years of faithful service, all the commendations and extra shifts, none of it mattered. Past achievements meant nothing if you failed today. That single piece of knowledge changed everything. The little community we had, the unspoken bonds, they just evaporated. People who used to share a shortcut or lend a hand now kept their eyes fixed on their own work. We still cooperated when the production line demanded it. But that voluntary help, that sense of being in it together, it was gone. Everyone knew that helping someone else might just shine a spotlight on your own weakness. Survival was now a solo mission. The work itself didn't change, but the feeling of doing it was completely different. Every single shell was crafted under a microscope. Every movement was recorded and analyzed. Every breath you took felt like it was being measured, judged. And the strange thing is, the quality of our output actually got better under all that pressure. We were making perfect shells, flawless products, but the psychological toll was immense. We achieved perfection by sacrificing everything that made the work even remotely bearable. Lunch breaks weren't for rest anymore. They were silent, tense periods of observation. We'd study each other's faces, looking for any sign of stress, any hint of weakness, trying to guess who would be the next one to disappear. The camaraderie was replaced by a quiet, desperate competition. It wasn't about being the best, it was about not being the worst. The factory floor, once a place of shared labor, had become an arena, and we were all gladiators, fighting for our lives, not with weapons, but with calipers and welding torches. The constant fear of being deemed expendable was a heavier burden than any physical labor. We worked, we ate, we slept, but we weren't really living. We were just waiting for a judgment we couldn't appeal, from a system that didn't care. And that waiting was the worst part of all. Thanks for watching, and if you're new here, consider subscribing. The exercise feels pointless. The rules of this game are a mystery, but we can't stop ourselves from trying to guess our own future, looking for signs in every little thing. Fear makes us superstitious, creating rituals that give us a false sense of control, a phantom understanding. Then, the afternoon shift brings a surprise. A new worker. She's not a rookie. Her age and the way she carries herself suggests a transfer. Her arrival just stirs up more questions we can't dare to ask. Why move her here now, during a quality check? What happened at her last post? Is she a good sign? Proof that our section is valued? Or is she just the first step in a bigger shakeup? She works with a quiet intensity, like someone who knows first impressions are everything. Her movements are perfect, her speed unwavering, her attitude just right, but her eyes ... Her eyes hold a familiar fear. She's seen this before. She's been through these calls and survived. That makes her either incredibly skilled or incredibly lucky. I can't decide which is more terrifying. As the day wears on, I start to see patterns. The supervisor lingers longer at certain stations. Some of us are pulled aside more often, our work measured and judged. It could be random, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels like a silent, invisible calculation is happening. An algorithm of judgment that will decide who stays and who goes. Our fates are being decided by a math we can't even see. Evening comes, and with it, the first concrete result. The shift end announcements crackle to life. 3 names are called there to report to the administrative offices. Immediately, the 3 workers put down their tools, wipe their stations cleaner than I've ever seen, and walk away. Their pace is steady, resigned. They know this is the end of their time here. Will they be moved, retrained, or just gone? We're not told. Their departure leaves 3 gaping holes in the line. The quotas don't change, though the same amount of work, now with fewer people. The math gets harder. Someone has to work faster, better, with more precision. The rest of us, the survivors, we have to pick up the slack. That's the price of staying. The evening rituals feel automatic, mechanical, but underneath the surface, there's a desperate thankfulness from those of us still here. Every routine task, every prayer we offer up, is a silent celebration of one more day of being useful. One more day we get to survive. Every washing ceremony is a renewal, a recommitment to purity and efficiency. Even these simple, routine activities feel heavy with meaning. They're no longer just tasks. They're our way of proving we're still worthy. It's a stark contrast to what we see in the dormitories. The bunks, now empty, are silent monuments to the selection process that churns relentlessly around us. Personal belongings are gone. Sleeping spaces have been reallocated, and any trace of the people who were here has been carefully erased. The sheer efficiency of it all suggests they've done this many, many times before. It's a well-oiled machine, designed for one purpose: managing the transition from useful service to something else. Sleep doesn't come easy. You lie there, listening to the hum of the facility, knowing that tomorrow brings more evaluations, more chances to fail, more ways to be found wanting. This quality assurance period has no end date. It's a perpetual exam that could conclude at any moment, with a final judgment on your worth. We all exist in this strange limbo, this state of suspended resolution. We are useful servants, but our usefulness is under constant, unforgiving review. Dreams blur into waking thoughts, creating this endless stream of anxiety, only broken by brief, fleeting moments of unconsciousness. The lines between rest and work, sleep and vigilance, safety and danger, they've all disappeared. Everything is part of the evaluation. Every single moment is a test. The whole of your existence shrinks down to one single, terrifying question. Will tomorrow bring another chance to prove you're useful to the Emperor's grand design? Then, morning arrives. The familiar bells ring, but they're followed by an unfamiliar announcement. The quality assurance period has produced preliminary results. Of course, they won't be shared with us until the final evaluations are complete. This isn't comforting. It's just confirmation that judgments are being made, somewhere far above us, through processes we can't influence or even begin to understand. So we keep working. We have to. While we toil, decisions about our fates are being calculated, based on criteria that remain a complete mystery to those of us whose lives hang in the balance. The 4th day brings subtle changes. At first, you barely notice them, but they add up. The morning prayer now includes new verses about accepting divine will, which feels like a heavy-handed hint that big news is coming. Our water rations have been adjusted, slightly increased. Is that a reward for good performance? Or are they preparing for changes to the workforce that will affect consumption rates? The protein paste has new additives. We don't know what they are or what they do, but their presence is another small tear in the fabric of our established routine. And at our workstations, the pressure has been dialed up to an entirely new level. The intensity of supervision is suffocating. Mechanical eyes track and record every gesture, every pause, every tiny flicker of deviation from optimal efficiency. Data streams flow from us constantly, feeding analysis centers where human and machine intelligence work together, reducing our performance, our very existence, into cold, mathematical certainties. They're not just watching us anymore. They're quantifying us, calculating our worth down to the last decimal point, and we can do nothing but work, and wait and wonder if our number is about to be up. Thanks for watching. If this story resonates with you, consider subscribing for more. The pressure of this constant observation is immense, turning every simple task into a desperate act of precision. Suddenly, new tools start appearing at certain workstations. They're precision instruments capable of much more accurate manufacturing, but they also demand a much higher level of skill to use properly. Are these rewards for good work, or are they tests designed to weed out those who can't adapt? The ambiguity feels intentional, forcing us to see every change as both an opportunity and a threat, every improvement as a potential trap. During the midday break, rumors from other sections start to fly. Production Line 77 Alpha just finished their quality assurance period with flying colors. They got commendations and even a small bump in their rations. But then there's Line 77. They've been completely restructured. The entire workforce was reassigned to other duties, and new people are being trained to take their place. These stories give us a glimpse of what might be in store for us, but there's nothing we can do to influence our own outcome. It's completely out of our hands. The afternoon shift brought a whole new level of uncertainty. Representatives from the Departamento Munitorum showed up to run their own evaluations. They weren't just checking our work for technical quality. They were looking at everything, from weight distribution down to the exact placement of the prayer scrolls on the shelves. Their standards are totally separate from the tech priest's requirements, creating this overlapping and sometimes contradictory set of rules we have to follow. This completely changed the game. What was already a complex job became nearly impossible. We now have to satisfy multiple evaluation systems at the same time, each with its own priorities, its own tolerances for error, and any one of them could fail us, regardless of how well we did on the other assessments. The level of precision required felt superhuman. We had to achieve absolute perfection across multiple dimensions of performance, all while maintaining the spiritual focus expected of us. It was an overwhelming demand. As evening drew near, the first real signs of our fate started to appear. Supervisors began making final measurements, but this time, they were using equipment far more advanced than anything we'd seen before. These instruments could detect variations in our craftsmanship down to the molecular level. The readings were sent directly to data analysis centers, where complex algorithms weighed our technical skill against resource efficiency, and our individual performance against the output of the entire group. The shift ended with no official announcement, but the silence was deafening. It meant the decisions had been made, judgments passed, and our fates sealed. Tomorrow would bring either justification or consequences, reward or punishment, continued service or something else. The night dragged on, especially for those of us who knew it might be our last in this role. The last few hours of our lives as we knew them, dreams and waking thoughts all blurred into one long, anxious wait. Some people prayed harder than ever, hoping for some divine intervention in a process that was already finished. Others were more practical, packing up the few personal things they had, just in case they needed to move quickly. They were memorizing prayers that might offer some comfort during the transition to whatever unknown circumstances lay ahead. We could only wait for the dawn. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this glimpse into the Manufactorum, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories. The dorm fills with the sounds of people getting ready for changes they can't predict or control. Sleep only comes in short bursts, broken by the sharp awareness that judgment is coming. The usual sounds of 17 billion people settling down for the night now sound like a massive symphony of shared anxiety. All those individual fears are blending into one big realization. Our survival depends on things we co-influence. We're all just living at the mercy of systems designed for efficiency, calculating our worth against what else is available. Dawn finally arrives, and with it, the announcement we've all been waiting for, with a mix of hope and terror. The quality assurance period is over. The results will be announced right after morning prayers and breakfast. Anyone affected by workforce adjustments needs to be ready for immediate new assignments. The language is so bureaucratic and clean, meant to make these huge life changes sound like just another routine procedure. Our morning rituals feel unusually solemn today. Everyone knows this might be the last time we do them this way. The prayers are recited with a desperate intensity. The washing ceremonies are done with extra care. We eat our meals knowing this could be the last one we share with the people around us. All these familiar patterns suddenly feel so much more important, like a way of saying thanks for chances that might not come again. After breakfast, we all gather on the main factory floor. This is where they'll announce the changes that will completely restructure our lives, all based on math we can't even begin to understand. Supervisors stand on elevated platforms, looking down at us, while administrative staff get their data slates ready. These slates hold the judgments that have reduced our lives to mere statistics. The moment of truth is approaching with the cold, unstoppable precision of a machine. The announcements start with praise for those whose performance went above and beyond. Names are called out, worker designations are announced, and small rewards are handed out to recognize their superior contribution to the Emperor's grand design. These lucky few will keep their jobs, but with better status and slightly improved living conditions. Their success is held up as proof that excellence is possible if you just dedicate yourself completely to your duties. Next up are the neutral assessments. This is the verdict for the majority, for those whose performance was good enough, but not exceptional. These workers will also keep their current assignments, with no changes. Their service is considered adequate, so they get to continue as they are. The news brings a wave of relief, but not celebration. It's survival, not a victory. We watch as our friends and colleagues are sorted, our collective fate hanging in the balance. The process continues, name by name. And with each one, the tension on the factory floor grows thicker. The final group, the one we all fear joining, has yet to be addressed. What will happen to those who didn't meet the requirements? The silence hangs heavy as the administrator clears his throat, ready to announce the final, most dreaded results. To simply continue to exist is its own kind of victory, especially in a system designed to eliminate anything it deems redundant. The evaluations are relentless, and today, the redistributions are announced. It's a day filled with quiet tension. One by one, worker designations are called out. For some, it's an alternative service assignment. The official language is always so neutral, so administrative. It's carefully crafted to frame termination as an opportunity, a chance for enhanced service in a role better suited to your unique skills. It's a beautifully constructed lie to maintain Imperial efficiency. Those selected for these opportunities respond with the disciplined acceptance expected of us. They are faithful servants, after all. They gather their few personal belongings, all while showing the appropriate level of gratitude for their continued usefulness to the Emperor's will. It's a chilling performance of loyalty. I listen to every name, my focus absolute, because my own fate hangs in the balance. The line between continued service and redistribution is invisible until the moment your designation is read aloud. My own designation approaches alphabetically, the suspense tightening with each announcement. The cold mathematics of this judgment are completely beyond my control. Yet they will decide whether my tomorrow looks just like today, or if it'll be something entirely new and unknown. Finally, my designation is called. I'm in the second category. Adequate performance, continued assignment, survival without distinction. The relief is so intense, it feels like a physical force, a flood of gratitude just for the chance to keep going, to keep serving in the same familiar way. Another day. Another shift, another small chance to contribute to this vast, complex machine that keeps humanity alive in a universe that seems determined to tear it all down. It's a profound, almost primal relief. But that relief is double. It's tempered by the faces of those who were selected for redistribution. These are people I've worked alongside for years. People who have given nothing but faithful dedication. Now, their service here is over. Their departure leaves empty spaces at our stations, voids that'll soon be filled by new personnel. It's a stark reminder that the cycle of evaluation and replacement is constant, moving with the cold, mechanical precision of a clock. The system doesn't care about individuals. It only optimizes for collective efficiency, and it does so through the calculated sacrifice of personal continuity. We are all just cogs in the grand design. The day ends differently. Our routines are modified to account for the reduced personnel and redistributed responsibilities. Those of us who remain must now absorb the duties of the departed, all while maintaining the same exacting standards of quality that triggered this evaluation in the first place. The math gets harder. the pressure increases. But the consequences of failure, they remain absolute. We just have to be better. We have to be more efficient. We have to survive until the next evaluation. Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more glimpses into this world. Stay safe out there. Excellence isn't a choice here. It's a requirement for survival. Your usefulness to something far greater than yourself is what keeps you going. As evening falls, our new reality starts to sink in. All around, empty workstations are being cleaned, wiped down, and prepped for the next wave of personnel. Their training will be streamlined, based on lessons we just learned from the latest quality assurance checks. It's a chillingly efficient transition, proof of the system's power to continuously optimize itself. It processes human beings with the same cold, mechanical precision it uses for raw materials and finished products. The new workers arrived just hours after the announcements. They're all dressed in fresh gray coveralls, straight from supply. The looks on their faces, they're a mirror of my own from 23 years ago. A mix of fear and determination. They move with such careful attention, knowing that every tiny gesture is being watched, that these first impressions will color every evaluation to come. They're mostly silent. Their whispers are quiet prayers for guidance, for acceptance into this relentless machine. I watch them file in, taking their places at stations that were occupied just hours ago. The names of the previous workers are already being wiped from the rosters, erased from the records as if they never existed. The continuity of production is everything. The individual is nothing. The steady rhythm of the assembly line continues, unbroken by the human changes that are just minor punctuation marks in the grand, unending process. New hands are now learning the exact same motions. New minds are absorbing the same scripted prayers. New bodies are adapting to the same crushing demands that have shaped countless others before them. Their training is brutal and accelerated. The instruction period is so compressed it forces them to adapt at a speed that's almost inhuman. Procedures that took me months to master, they're expected to learn in days. I can see them struggling. Their movements are clumsy, uncertain, lacking the fluid grace that only comes from years of repetition. But they learn fast. They live, cove. They're driven by the terrifying awareness that they must prove their competence before the evaluation period ends, before the final, permanent judgment is passed. During the midday break, I'm assigned as a mentor to one of the new arrivals. She's young, her designation marking her as fresh from the education sectors, where they give you the basic training before throwing you into your life's duty. Her questions are filled with a naive curiosity that I vaguely remember from my own early days. She's uncertain about the procedures, the unspoken rules, the things you only learn through experience, observation, and harsh instruction. Then she asks the question. She asks about the workers who were here before. What happened to them? Was there reassignment, a promotion, or a punishment? I give her the standard, sanitized answers, the ones that acknowledge the transition without ever touching the dangerous truth. I satisfy her curiosity while steering clear of forbidden territory. We don't talk about the fate of redistributed personnel. Their new assignments are only ever described in vague terms, always emphasizing their continued service to the grand imperial purpose. But her question stirs something in me. Thoughts I've spent years learning to suppress, memories of other faces, other workers who vanished during past evaluations. Each time, I pushed the thoughts down, sealed them away. But her innocent question has found a crack, and now, I'm starting to remember. I remember the faces of the departed, the silent goodbyes, the empty spaces they left behind, and for the first time in a long, long time, I find myself looking over my shoulder, wondering when my own workstation will be clean for someone new. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more. Have you ever noticed a face just gone? One day they're there, the next, it's like they never existed. No explanation, no goodbye. I see that same worry in the eyes of the new girl. It's a fear I remember well, a fear that experience has taught me to tuck away, not to solve. I've learned that some questions are too dangerous to ask, and some answers come at a price you can't afford to pay. The afternoon shift is always a strange dance. The veterans, like me, slow our rhythm, pulling the newcomers along. trying to keep up with production quotas that never, ever budge. It doesn't matter if you're a rookie. The numbers are absolute. So we pick up the slack, pushing a little harder, moving a little faster, to cover for their fumbling. It's just the math of the place. As evening closes in, you can see the exhaustion setting in on their faces. It's not just tired muscles, it's a bone-deep weariness. The constant pressure to be perfect, the feeling of being watched every second. It drains you in a way sleep can't fix. Their hands start to slow down, their focus wanders. Even though they know a single mistake could be the end, they fight it. But their bodies are screaming. During the evening prayers, their voices are the loudest. They're filled with a genuine gratitude that I almost envy. They haven't been here long enough for the words to become automatic, for their faith to become a reflex instead of a feeling. Their devotion is a ghost of my own past, a reminder of a fire I've had to bank just to survive the years. The sacred words mean something different when you know the reality they're designed to hide. Dinner is where the real training happens. It's not in any manual. I find myself leaning over to the new girl, whispering secrets. How to pace yourself so you don't burn out by midday. How to look focused without drawing the wrong kind of attention. How to seem just competent enough, but never so good that you become a threat. It's forbidden knowledge, but it's the only way they'll last. It helps the system, in a way. A burned-out worker is a useless worker. Later, in the dorms, the quiet questions begin. They ask about what comes next. About promotions, retirement, a life outside these walls. They whisper about families they might have, connections beyond this hive. I give them the answers. I was given vague comforts and I can't tell them that for many, there is no after. The questions stop when they see the answer in my eyes. The same answer I saw years ago. And then, a new kind of silence settles over them. The silence of understanding. The silence of survival. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more. Stay safe out there. The questions they ask, they carry assumptions about existence I once held myself. Beliefs I've had to let go of, piece by piece, as I learn the difference between theoretical realities and the actual ones we live every day. The answers I give them are gentle, but they are the truth, delivered in small doses, just enough to be absorbed without causing despair. Sleep comes a bit easier tonight. Another evaluation period is over, and with it, a temporary break from the constant anxiety of an uncertain status. But it's just that temporary. I know the assessment never really ends. Performance monitoring is constant, a silent observer during every moment of service. Future evaluations will arrive with the same cold, mathematical precision as the last one. Survival is just a temporary victory in a system designed for endless optimization, where calculated replacement is the name of the game. My dreams are filled with fragments of conversations with redistributed workers, colleagues whose service ended during past quality assurance checks. Their faces are becoming harder to recall as time passes and new personnel fill the spaces they once occupied. The human cost of efficiency. It only surfaces in these quiet, unconscious moments when the rational part of my mind finally relaxes its guard. Morning brings news. News that turns my recent small victory into a fresh wave of uncertainty. The manufacturer has been chosen for a system-wide efficiency enhancement program. It's a comprehensive review, they say, examining every single aspect of production, from raw material acquisition to final distribution. The announcement frames it as a reward, a recognition of our excellence after the recent evaluations. But experience has taught me to read between the lines. System-wide reviews often come before major restructuring. Wholesale changes that optimize performance through methods far more radical than just personnel redistribution. Entire facilities can be moved. Production lines completely redesigned. Workforce needs altered based on calculations that go way beyond our local efficiency scores. The potential for change suddenly expands from individual survival to the continuation of our entire familiar existence. The new workers hear this news with confusion. They don't have the experience to see the implications. They focus on the positive words recognition, excellency, advancement, improvement. Their optimism just highlights the massive gap between the official story and the operational reality, between authorized interpretation and the understanding you gain from simply being here. Preparation for the review starts immediately. Supervisors are rolling out new monitoring procedures. Administrative staff are compiling massive records of performance data. The sheer amount of documentation is beyond anything we've seen during local evaluations. It suggests the review criteria will cover dimensions of assessment we've never even considered. Every single part of our operation will be measured against standards whose nature and origin are a complete mystery. Work continues under this heightened scrutiny, but the atmosphere has changed. It's subtle in some ways, profound in others. The pressure's been dialed up, the unspoken tension is thicker. We all know what's at stake. We're no longer just working for our individual survival. We're working for the survival of this place as we know it. Every action, every metric, every second is now part of a much larger equation, one whose solution is completely out of our hands. We can only do the work and wait for the verdict. Thanks for listening. If this story resonates with you, consider subscribing for more. Conversations become quieter, more guarded. Every movement feels calculated. Every expression carefully controlled. When you're constantly being watched, you become a performer. You're acting in a play, but you don't know the script or what the director is looking for. The days just blur into one another, each one a repeat of the last, all under the shadow of constant judgment. We know we're being evaluated, but the rules of the game are a complete mystery. New workers arrive, full of energy and optimism, but that fades quickly. It's replaced by a focused intensity, the kind you need to survive when your every move is being scored. They pick up on the unspoken rules, learning the secret survival techniques that are never written down but are absolutely essential. It's a silent language of nods and glances, of knowing who to watch and what to mimic. You learn by observing, by absorbing the atmosphere of perpetual assessment. Even our food changes. The rations are adjusted based on complex calculations that account for the extra stress of the review periods. The portions get a little bigger, just enough to keep us productive under pressure. It's a small change, but it's noticeable. It's a silent acknowledgement from the top that these are not normal times. It doesn't offer much comfort, but it confirms what we already feel in our bones. This situation is anything but ordinary. It reinforces the feeling that we are just cogs in a machine, optimized for peak performance. Sleep offers no escape. The anxiety from the day seeps into the night, fragmenting our rest. Dreams become a chaotic mix of work procedures, evaluation criteria, and deep-seated fears about what's to come. The line between being awake and being asleep completely dissolves. Even in the privacy of our own minds, we feel like we're still being watched, still being judged. Every thought, every nightmare, feels like another data point being fed into the system. There's no off switch, no moment of true peace. Weeks turn into a month, and the review period just keeps going. There's no end in sight. This prolonged uncertainty creates a unique kind of psychological pressure. It's a slow burn that eats away at your mental reserves, the very reserves you need to stay focused and perform well. You can see the strain on people's faces, the exhaustion, frayed nerves, and the terrifying part is, these very signs of stress could become part of the final evaluation. Another reason to be deemed unfit. The system creates the problem and then punishes you for it. Then, one day, it's over who's like that. No warning, no fanfare. The announcement comes crackling over the same speakers that deliver the daily updates. The comprehensive evaluation has been completed. The voice is sterile, emotionless. It says the results have been compiled and recommendations submitted. We're told that anyone affected will be notified. The language is intentionally vague, offering no clues, no hints of what's to come. It could be a promotion, a transfer, or something much, much worse. We just keep working, our minds racing, waiting for the verdict that will either keep our lives the same or change them forever. As evening falls, the first real sign of our fate arrives. We've been living inside an algorithm, a black box of optimization whose logic we can't comprehend. And now, the results are about to be delivered. The air is thick with a silence that is heavier than any sound. We stand together, waiting, knowing that, for some of us, this is the end of the world as we know it. The system has made its calculations. and now we will face the consequences. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content that explores these kinds of themes. Stay safe out there. The shift began like any other, but an unsettling quiet had fallen over the assembly lines. Supervisors, moving with a cold, mechanical efficiency, started removing equipment from selected workstations. They dismantled tools, redistributing components based on authorization codes I couldn't decipher. The pattern of their activity was baffling. There was no clear logic to predict whose position was safe, whose was being eliminated, and whose was being modified. I tried to keep my focus on my duties, but my eyes kept darting around, searching for any sign, any clue that might reveal my own fate in this silent, sweeping restructuring. But the criteria were invisible. The selection process guided by calculations that weighed factors far beyond our individual performance records. It was a comprehensive review, suggesting changes that extended far beyond simple efficiency metrics on our floor. The shift ended without a single announcement, leaving a heavy tension in the air. Later, during the evening prayers, new verses had been added. They spoke of accepting divine will, of finding purpose in changed circumstances. Reciting these words felt ominous. They hinted that the transitions ahead were not just practical, but spiritual, requiring a complete adaptation of our being. We spoke the new verses, our minds racing with possibilities from minor adjustments to a complete transformation of our existence within the Imperial structure. The uncertainty was a heavy cloak over all of us. Sleep that night was restless, broken by the sounds of continued activity from areas that should have been silent. Mechanical voices, speaking in binary cant, echoed through the ventilation systems. Their tones carried an urgency, a purpose that spoke of nocturnal operations, of preparations too extensive for normal shift hours. These were modifications that required time and resources far beyond standard maintenance. Something massive was underway. Dawn brought news that confirmed our deepest fears, but offered no clarity. A formal announcement declared a complete operational restructuring of the manufactorum. New efficiency specifications, developed from that comprehensive review, were being implemented. All personnel would be evaluated for compatibility with these modified procedures. Those deemed suitable would receive additional training. The rest would be processed for alternative service assignments more appropriate to their capabilities. The announcement framed it all as an opportunity, an advancement in service to the Emperor's grand design. But the corporate language couldn't hide the truth. This was the dissolution of our world, the end of familiar patterns, replaced by systems optimized by criteria we couldn't even comprehend. Our existence as we knew it was ending. What would replace it remained a terrifying unknown. The restructuring began immediately. We continued our old duties as new equipment arrived and training materials were distributed, but only to a select few. The selection criteria remained a secret, but a pattern started to emerge. They seemed to be looking for a specific blend of technical skill, physical endurance, and psychological adaptability qualities that didn't necessarily align with our current performance rankings. Then, my designation was called. I was among those selected for additional training. I still don't know why. The new procedures were nothing like our old practices. They required entirely different skills. New approaches to tasks that were only superficially similar to what I'd done for cycles. The learning curve was brutally steep, demanding I unlearn years of experience and adapt to concepts that challenged everything I thought I knew. It was a test not just of skill, but of will. I had been chosen, and now I had to prove I was worthy of that choice, whatever it meant. Thanks for tuning in. If you're fascinated by these glimpses into worlds beyond our own, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories. Let me know in the comments what you think is happening to those who weren't selected. Until next time, the training period was a brutal sprint. Knowledge crammed into us, schedules so tight there was no time to ease in. Some adapted instantly, proving their worth. Others, like me, found themselves gasping for air, the demands far exceeding our ability to change so quickly. It was more than just training. It was a final, silent judgment, teaching us new skills, yes, but also weeding out those who couldn't keep up with the new operational reality. As the personnel shifted, so did our world. The familiar equipment, the tools I'd known for decades, vanished overnight. In their place stood strange new machinery, operating on principles I couldn't grasp, yet serving the same ultimate purpose. The entire layout of the floor was redrawn. The flow of materials, the very rhythm of production, was rewritten to chase an efficiency we'd never even considered before. It was a complete transformation. The new workers, the ones who arrived just before this whole ordeal began, took to it like they were born for it. They had so little experience with the old ways, nothing to unlearn. They embraced the new training with an enthusiasm I just couldn't find in myself. Their flexibility was a constant, painful reminder of the psychological toll of my long service. The deeper your roots, the harder it is to pull them up. Adaptation wasn't just learning. It was abandoning a part of yourself. But you adapt. You have to. Survival demands you accept whatever modifications serve the great machine of production. So I learned the new techniques, always aware that this was just the beginning. Optimization isn't a destination. It's a relentless, ongoing process. The system evolves, and its human parts are expected to evolve with it, or be replaced by something better suited for what comes next. Weeks bled into one another. The restructuring neared its end. The final configuration of our workspace was almost unrecognizable. It was a testament to a complete reimagining of everything we thought we knew. And the numbers didn't lie. Production capacity soared, while resource consumption plummeted. It was mathematical perfection, achieved through human adaptation to machine logic. We had become cogs in a new, more efficient engine. Then came the day it was declared complete. We all assembled for a ceremony, a hollow ritual to mark the transition. Prayers were offered for our successful adaptation. Supervisors gave speeches, praising our flexibility and dedication. They spoke of continuity, of evolution, not the radical upheaval we had just endured. They painted this brutal transformation as a natural next step in our service. But we all knew, beneath the platitudes and the ceremonial praise, we all felt the silent weight of what had been lost. The familiar routines that gave us comfort, the friendships forged in shared struggle, the very identities we had built within the old world. All of it sacrificed at the altar of efficiency. These human costs, these intangible losses that can't be put on a spreadsheet, they were never mentioned. They don't exist in the cold calculations of productivity. That night, lying in my bunk on the first day of our new reality, I stared into the darkness. It wasn't just our jobs that had changed. The very nature of our existence within these walls had been fundamentally, and perhaps irrevocably, altered. We were more productive, more efficient, and somehow less human. This is the new world we inhabit. Thank you for listening. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more reflections on the human side of progress. The sounds are different now. The rhythms have changed, and the whole atmosphere is transformed. We're still doing the same job, serving the same ultimate purpose, but we're not the same people. We're living in a different world. Our identities reshaped to fit new requirements, optimizing us like cogs in a machine. The prayer bells still toll on schedule. Their bronze voice is carrying the same sacred words, but the air they travel through tastes subtly different, processed by new ventilation systems. The clock on the wall shows the same red numerals, but the hours themselves feel altered in a way I can't quite describe. We're measuring the same time, but through different experiences. It's as if time itself has been bent by the new context. Sleep is a struggle. My mind doesn't want to let go, clinging to awareness of the changes happening all around us. Even my dreams are a mix of old and new procedures, blending memories with recent training. It's a strange mental landscape where familiar certainties have dissolved, leaving nothing clear in their place. My mind is fighting to make sense of it all. The first full day under the new parameters was a test of everything we'd learned. The procedures felt foreign, even after weeks of preparation. My muscle memory fought against conscious instruction, and old habits needed constant correction. But we adapt. We have to. Repetition and necessity are harsh but effective teachers. Slowly, theory is becoming practiced routine. I see the same struggle in the others. Their movements are uncertain, deliberate, where they once flowed with automatic precision. But we're adapting together. This shared uncertainty is forging new bonds, replacing the relationships we lost in the restructuring. We're finding new ways, to cooperate, navigating unfamiliar tasks while still hitting production targets that offer no room for error. Days have bled into weeks. The new ways are becoming more familiar, though they'll never feel entirely comfortable. And they're effective. Production is up. Resource consumption is down. Just like the optimization calculations predicted. Our adaptation serves the greater purpose, but it's turning us into different versions of ourselves. Still, questions linger just beneath the surface. What happened to the workers who weren't kept on? Where did they go? Do their new assignments provide a meaningful existence? The official channels are silent, leaving us to speculate, and our speculations range from optimistic to terrifying, depending on who you ask. The young woman I mentored during the last transition came to me during a break. She's no longer just worried about immediate survival. She's asking about the future, about advancement, retirement, the possibility of a family outside this hive. Her questions reveal a hopefulness I remember from my own early days. A hope that experience will gradually reshape as the reality of our world sets in. It's a cycle, and all we can do is navigate it, one day at a time. Thanks for watching. They come to me with questions, the new ones, their faces full of a hope I remember seeing in my own reflection. Years ago, they ask about advancement, about retirement, about family, and I give them the answers, the ones I was given. I tell them, yes, advancement is possible, but it follows a path laid out by the system, not by personal ambition. Yes, there are provisions for when your service is done, but they might not look like the future you've imagined. Yes, you can maintain connections, but service always comes first. Each word I speak carries a weight I never understood when I was on the receiving end. I'm not just passing on information, I'm shaping their expectations, guiding their adaptation into the vast machinery of this service. It's a strange feeling to become the voice of the system I once questioned. The cycle continues. The knowledge is passed down, not in books, but in these quiet conversations, generation to generation. Months have passed since the last operational change. The new procedure's a second nature now, so routine that my mind starts to wander during my shift. I think about the bigger picture. We are all just components in a system obsessed with optimization. Human resources, they call us. Resources to be adjusted, shifted, and modified to meet requirements we can't even begin to understand. The goals extend far beyond our individual lives, beyond our comprehension. The prayer bells still ring on schedule, their familiar bronze tones echo through the halls, a comforting sound of continuity. But the prayers themselves feel different now. The ancient words, recited under these new circumstances, take on new meanings. The sacred language itself seems to adapt. Its surface unchanged while its core transforms to fit our new reality. It's a quiet reminder that nothing is truly static. We're hitting our production quotas more consistently than ever. Our adaptation is complete, our efficiency a testament to human flexibility. We have bent ourselves to fit the needs of the machines, and by all metrics, it's a success. But success in a system like this is never a final destination. It's just a new baseline. It proves that change is possible, that further optimization is always on the horizon. In the quiet moments between shifts, when the noise of the machinery fades, I find myself contemplating the purpose of it all. The components we manufacture with such precision, they feed conflicts in places we've never heard of, for reasons we'll never be told. Our improved efficiency serves strategies that span star systems, shaping a grand design far beyond our little world. Our significance is a strange paradox. We are vital, but only as a collective. Our individual contributions only matter as part of the total output that serves the grand plan. This knowledge gives us a sense of purpose, but it also highlights our own profound insignificance. We are essential and expendable, valuable and replaceable, all at the same time. It's a defining contradiction of our existence, shared by billions just like us. And still, the new workers come with their questions. Their optimism, though tempered by experience over time, never quite dies. Hope is a stubborn thing. It persists, even when all evidence shows that individual dreams must bend to the will of the collective. That personal fulfillment is a luxury the system cannot afford. They learn, as I learned, to find their purpose not in what they want to be, but in what they are required to be. and the cycle begins again.